Good morning, fans of the J. Harmon home team. Brett Garner here, bringing you a very special episode of Coffee Talk. Not only is it episode number 75, but the guest today is Jonathan Harmon.
This is weird.
That's right. The tables are turned today, and Jonathan gets to get interviewed instead of interviewing.
Hard-hitting questions. I'm a little nervous.
Hey, it's what everybody's waiting to know.
I'm telling you.
I hope everybody's having a great day. Jonathan and I are here at Carpe Artista, Carpe Cafe, and watching the snow flurries come down and having a great morning.
It's a good way to start the day, man.
It is.
We got great coffee. We got snow falling on our beloved Depot district.
We do. It's beautiful.
It is.
We don't get very many days like this, so it's kind of nice to watch.
Like, I got Christmas carols going on in my head, and if you know me, that's weird.
I definitely don't have that right now. I'm not quite ready for Christmas to begin. But anyways, let's get this going. Jonathan, most people feel like you're from Smyrna because you've been here most of your life, but you're not really born and bred, just bred here.
That's right. Yep. I would like to say I'm a naturalized Smyrna citizen, or at least Rutherford County-in, let's put it that way. But no, I was born in South Texas, as far south as you can go. Texas comes to a point, and that point is Port Isabel and South Padre Island, and that's where I'm from. So by air, it's about 10 miles from Mexico.
Most Texans that I know are like really, they're super pro-Texas.
Absolutely.
Pride, I guess you would say.
That's right. I've drank Texas Pride. It's not very good, but no. No, I like to consider myself that classic Tennessee Texan, right? Like your Davy Crockett's and people like that.
I was going to say, there is a big connection.
A huge connection, and it's almost mystical in a way,
Legendary.
Legendary. There you go. And so born down there, we moved up here when I was 5 years old, very quickly to Smyrna. We lived in Antioch with my grandmother for about 6 or 8 months. Moved to Smyrna. My grandfather owned a shop just right up here on Lowry, and my father worked there. My mom worked for Kroger originally, which we're going to pull that full circle here in a minute.
Okay.
And then she started working at Crosland Supply, and then my father left the shop when my granddad closed it, and he started working at Crosland Supply. They worked there for, between the two of them, 25 years, 24 years, something like that. And now my dad works for Kroger.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. The circle just got connected.
I'm telling you. It is cool.
Hey, Taylor. Waving at us there.
Hello, Taylor. I like that guy.
He's a good one.
He's a good one. And Lacey's watching too.
Lacey's watching, and Donnie.
Yeah. Well, is Donnie still watching? Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, still on there.
Yeah, we like all of those folks very much.
And Crosland, you mentioned that. I mean, you basically were raised on the loading dock at Crosland. Right?
Yep. I have played with the nail magnet.
Yes.
We used to use, they had a yellow wedge. It was about that long and about that wide that they used to, I guess, to split drywall. I'm not really sure what it was used for, except that I know it was used for a bicycle ramp, because I did that.
Good time fun down at the dock at
a funny story. My parents were there one weekend. Who knows what they were doing, inventory or something. And my brother and I are riding our bicycles around all the warehouses. And the back warehouse was the newest warehouse at the time. And that's where all the drywall was. And so we had this little ramp thing. And I mean, we were just getting it. I mean, absolutely flying through this warehouse and jumping a ramp. Well, here's the problem. Not real smart, right? We have the ramp aimed at the stack of drywall.
Okay. Good.
And the floors were really slick in there. So I hit that ramp and I go up, and I mean, it was like E.T., right? Like, and the next thing I know, I hit the pavement. I had locked the brakes so I don't hit the drywall, and I just slide, boom, right into the drywall, up over the handlebars, face into the drywall. I thought I broke my wrist. It was bad.
Any other good stories like that from Crosland days that maybe nobody else knows about?
That was a good one. That same warehouse had a ramp outside that was really, really steep and pretty long.
Well, the ramp going from the showroom down to the loading dock.
I never rode my bike on that because there were doors at the bottom. But yeah, we rode down that one, and I ran down that one time. and I got a little ahead of myself, and I almost took a tumble, and there was a fire pit at the bottom of that, so that would have been bad.
Now, because of your relationship with Crosland, is that why you wound up going to work for Mr. Parker?
It is.
For Charlie?
Yep. So I was, I guess, 13 or 14. I'm trying to remember exactly when it happened. And I'd been mowing yards around my neighborhood to earn extra money. And my father says, "You need a job." I'm like, "Dad, I can't even drive yet." And he's like, "No, you need a job." So he approached. That's absolutely. He approaches Mr. Parker, and Mr. Parker says, "Yeah, sure, we'll put him to work." And
you did a little bit of everything.
Well, no. So here's what that meant was
Okay.
Mr. Parker needed someone to mow his yard, which he has about 5 acres that he mows. Yep. That's fine. I can do that. And he needed someone to do all the rest of the jobs that nobody else wanted. So I scrapped drywall. I scrapped bricks. I crawled under houses carrying buckets of gravel. That
swept up sawdust.
Oh, yeah. Which, by the way, the gravel incident, let me tell you that story.
Okay.
So if you know where Mr. Parker lives, right next door, across the field and next door, there's another house there that he built. And it's all framed, it's all dried in, and they decide, I think we need to put some gravel under this house. Crawl space is about yay high, right?
Hey, that's a good crawl space.
There were 3 of us guys that had 5-gallon buckets, and they would dump the gravel into the porch, and we would fill the buckets with shovels and then carry it like this into that crawl space with a 5-gallon bucket. It took us 2 days. It was miserable. Miserable.
That sounds like a great character building
That
experience.
is character building for sure. So,
I mean, Mr. Charlie's great.
Hey, move your mic. Lacey says it's hard to hear you. Put it up there on your red shirt. There you go.
Let's do this. I mean,
Cool.
Charlie's a great dude.
He is. He's awesome.
And I can't imagine him asking you to do anything really, really crazy.
I'm a plead the
You'll
fifth
plead
on
the
that
fifth on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the best.
Hey, he's semi-retired now.
That's
so.
right. You know what? One of the best bosses I've ever had. And when I mowed the yard, I really worked for Miss Pat. See, that's
Sure.
yeah. And
She's the boss.
especially at that house, you got it. The incident she will always tell you about is the infamous monkey grass incident.
Okay, monkey grass.
I moved a lot of monkey grass for her. So anyway, she tells the story way better than me, so you'll have to
We'll
hit her
have
up for
to
that
hear that from her.
Yep. She'd be fun to have on here.
She would be.
Yeah.
If you could get Charlie to let her out.
He'd be fun to have on here.
They might be a duo to include.
Now, interesting.
A lot of people know that you and I have known each other for, gosh, 6th grade.
Yep.
But most
Fifth,
people,
wasn't it?
maybe 5th grade.
I think it was 5th.
Most people remember the 2 of us from high school.
Mm-hmm.
We were frickin' frack. We were the dynamic duo.
That's right. Managers extraordinaire.
Yes. I mean, you pretty much saw the other one when you saw one.
It was rare that we were not together. Yes.
That's right. Have you heard anybody comment about us being back together now that we're working together again?
I'll tell you what I get most often is I'll bump into somebody from high school or whatever. I'm trying to remember probably one of the most recent. I can't remember now who it was.
I can tell you mine.
Hang on. It's right here. Matt and Mike Fry. Good gracious. See, this is the problem.
I was going to say there were a lot of Mikes.
Yeah, Mike Fry. I think it was him. It was
Parsley, Strickland,
trivia. Oh yeah,
Sanchez. Go down the list.
And it was like, hey, did you hear that Brett's working for me or working with us, working on my team? And this was the reaction.
Well, I mean, we weren't always known for being the most well-behaved.
We were
together. Angels. Yeah,
we were
right.
angels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Horns holding up our halos.
Yeah. No, we never did anything
not
bad
terrible.
Per se. Mischievous,
we were
perhaps.
Mischievous, yes.
Yeah. But nothing bad. So nothing destructive.
I ran
except for what we did Coach Coward's room that time. Remember that?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
good times.
A few other incidents. We won't tell on ourselves.
No. No self-incrimination.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is on some of that stuff. But recently I ran into Todd Miller, who, of course, I think he started teaching when we were juniors. But he was very, very shocked to hear that we were working together and said that he couldn't wait to see what great things you and I do together.
Well, that's good that we got that vote of confidence. And I respect that guy to no end. He is such a good dude. So that's good.
And I think the story how we came back around to each other
that's pretty cool.
I mean, we took 18 years off from one another.
Yeah.
Right?
We had to take a break. All
good things need that separation, right?
That's right. Absence makes the heart grow fonder,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah. But why don't you kind of tell folks so they know, or those that don't know our past history can kind of understand
sure.
what happened.
So both of our kids, both of my kids and both of your kids went to, or are going, whatever, to Thurman Francis. And, Thurman Francis is a special school.
Now, I mean, after high school, we immediately.
It's just, graduation day is like deuces.
Man, crack.
Yeah.
We're done.
Done. And so we're at Thurman Francis for one of their art nights or whatever. And I remember walking by and Taylor, come on now. Walking by and I'm like, that's Brett. And our kids weren't in the same grades. And I walked out and I was like, what are you doing? And we get to talking and I don't know. It's just like instant, it's just like right back at it. So that's pretty cool.
It was kind of like we never missed a beat.
No, just
and
jumped
right in. I
in.
think that night you and I went to Liquid Smoke and had a couple of beers maybe.
Was it that night or was it the next night?
No, that was the next time.
Yeah, that was with Willie. Hey, Willie.
Right. Yeah, hey, Willie. I know you're in retail hell right now with the holidays, but anyways, we did go out that second time, and that's kind of when things shifted gears, let's say.
You had mentioned at that point that you had kind of toyed with the idea of getting into real estate, and you were not extremely happy where you were. You weren't at that point. You weren't necessarily like over it, but you weren't extremely happy. You were just kind of kicking the tires a little bit. And you came in and we talked about real estate for a little bit. And you were like, I think this might be something I'm interested in. Your brother had been in real estate for a while. Yeah. Barry down there in Peachtree City. Shout out to Barry. Love that guy. And, you just kind of like you played with it for a little while. Right. Yeah. And we talked, we maintained a connection and actually built on it a little bit. And then you came to me one day and you were like, yeah, I'm done. You're like, I'm ready. And I was like, are you sure? You're like, oh, yeah, I've already put in my notice. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're ready.
Well, now we took the trip to Asheville for the beer tour.
That's right. That's right.
And you kind of put the hard sale on me in the truck on the way.
Oh, come on now. It wasn't really the hard sale. It was more like, here's what we could do.
Could do together, yes.
Right.
It was a visioning trip.
That's right. And that was a lot of fun, by the way. And you drove the whole time. I've never had a chauffeur, and it was fantastic.
I have a thing about riding with other people. I'd much rather be behind the wheel.
Yeah, I get that. My dad's the same way. I'm to some extent that way, but I don't know. Anyway.
Now, wait a minute. We got to go back a little bit because you haven't always been a realtor.
No.
What else did you do prior to real estate but post Charlie Parker?
Sure. A lot. So
but let's hit the high notes. We don't want to put them to sleep.
Well, but here's the interesting thing, and this is what I think a lot of people lose sight of, okay? I tell people often that I started my real estate career when I was 10. You know, because real estate, like a lot of other jobs, but maybe even to a bigger extent, is a relationship business. Sure. I mean, 100% relationship business. And so with the reputation that you build for hard work, for integrity, for honesty, straight shooter, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's been part of who I am for decades.
Right.
You know, and I attribute that to my parents, my mom and dad both. I mean, that's just who they are, you know. And I've kept that took it from them, or I don't guess you took it from them, learned it from them. Yeah, however you want to say that. And so, you know, after working for Mr. Parker, I worked in a gas station. I worked at the grill at MTSU. I waited tables. I delivered pizzas. I worked in a warehouse. I moved from just production on the line at the warehouse into human resources. I interned at the Small Business Development Center, which those guys are awesome, by the way.
We made that, you know, reconnection recently.
Yep. And I mean, just all kinds of different little jobs that people are like, oh, well, when are you going to get a real job? Well, what I've realized now, as I look back, those were real jobs. And I'll explain that here in a second.
Okay.
And then I got a master's degree in education, and I went and I taught high school. So for 4 years, I taught economics, business management, other business classes, car stereo installation, believe it or not. And I coached wrestling. And a lot of the relationships from 3 years at Blackman and then 1 year down in Peachtree, or not Peachtree, that's where your brother is, at the Atlanta area, really prepped me to, I understand better the learning process. And that's kind of a weird thing to say. There really is a process to learning things. And that means that if I've told you once, that might not necessarily be how you get it.
Sure.
Sometimes I got to write it down for you. Sometimes I got to draw you a picture, literally, right?
Or sometimes I need to do it.
Exactly. Sometimes we need to physically do whatever it is that we're talking about, and everybody's a little bit different. And so I've been able to apply a lot of that theory to how I sell houses, you know, and I think that's a big part of why it's been successful. And then the other thing is, with all those jobs, from picking up scrap brick. I got hit in the head one time with a brick from a kid throwing a brick across. I mean, all of those kinds of things, all the way through human resources, through teaching, you know, multiple levels of responsibility, and what would you call it, class of job, I guess. The ability to relate it's indispensable. And there's no way to learn that other than to
have been
do
engaged
it.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can relate to someone that's an HR professional, and I can relate to someone that drives a garbage truck.
Sure.
Right? Or scrubs pots at the grill. I scrubbed soup pots at the grill at MTSU. Dude, they're like this big. I mean, you almost had to get in them to scrub them. They were the nastiest thing in the whole world. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah. Well, let me go back just a second, because you were talking about relationships. And, you know, it's funny, your dad and I had a conversation at the parade party on Sunday.
Hey, if you came to that, thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
That was a blast. And if you didn't come to that, next year.
That's right. But your dad and I were talking, and he said that, you know, when you were a kid.
Do I want to know this story?
Yeah, no,
okay.
This is good.
Okay.
This is good. He said that, you know, everybody kind of was introduced as Tom's wife or Tom's kids. And then, you know, after the post-Crosland era, it was more, this is Susan's husband, your mom. And now it's kind of come to be that when he's introduced in public, he's introduced as Jonathan's dad.
No way.
Yeah.
He's never told me that.
Yeah. So we had that conversation. I was like, you know,
I'm a little flattered, actually.
It's kind of this. Yeah, it is flattering. I mean, whenever you went somewhere as a kid, I'm sure, just like for me, any restaurant you went into, your dad knew at least half a dozen people walking through the door.
You could not leave a restaurant quickly. I mean, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's introduced as your dad, and it's probably roles reversed. If you're out with them, you're the one making the half a dozen stops on the way to the door.
That's a fact. But I'm a little flattered. It's rare that you catch me speechless.
Well, you can talk to your dad about it now.
Yeah.
You got something to speak about.
I got a little tear in my eye, man.
Now, okay, so we know education, and then your next step was real estate, right?
It was. So and I have no idea if she'll see this, okay? But I'm going to say it anyway. I got fired from teaching. And I will tell this story occasionally, but
And getting fired is a humbling experience.
dude, it sucked. It was terrible. It's never happened to me before. And some people, especially the education people, will be like, well, you didn't get fired, you got non-renewed. I'm like, it's the same thing. And whether it's actually the same thing, it sure feels like the same thing.
Feeling. That's right.
And I didn't want to coach anymore. I was coaching wrestling. I'd missed essentially the first 3 years of my son's life because it was a year-round venture at Blackman for wrestling because we're very competitive.
Yeah.
Very competitive. And so I decided to step down as a coach. Well, I made the mistake of doing that before I had tenure. And in doing so, and there was a few other small things, but basically that was it. They non-renewed me. I had stellar teaching review,
record, yeah,
whatever. And they non-renewed me. And man,
punch in the gut.
Oh, dude. I mean, I've got a master's in education, right? I invested a lot of time and money in that. And
but that's paying off too now.
It is in a way that I never expected, right? And I just remember sitting there. I got fired on the Thursday before Good Friday in 2009. So Good Friday is when the tornado came through, right? I like to think that them firing me sort of got them punished. I'm just kidding, sort of. But anyway, so
let's not go biblical.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember I got called down to Clark Harrell. If you guys know Clark, he's the principal at Stewart's Creek High School. Amazing dude. I mean, he is the one guy that after I got fired for that, I don't know, whatever it is, 4 weeks, 5 weeks from that date until the end of the school year, he still treated me like a colleague and a professional. And he will never know how much that meant to me at that point in my life, like sure. For real. And I actually am getting a little choked emotional. Up because that was a moment in my life where I was lost, dude. I mean, I was befuddled. And I think in that time, I think I did the best teaching of my life. Because I just stopped everything, right? The classes that I taught didn't have end of course tests, right? They were all
they were just
elective type classes. Courses. And I said, you know what? I'm at a moment in my life that I never expected to be. And someday, everybody sitting in this room, all of my students, will be in a moment like this, right? Or similar. So we stopped everything else and we started, I actually have tears. We started reading Who Moved My Cheese. Okay. And if you've never read Who Moved My Cheese, you should.
You need a hanky?
I've got one in my pocket. I've learned from this guy. And we started reading it. And I mean, it was a life moment for me. And I think those kids saw that as well. I think they embraced it, most of them. And they realized, because I was perfectly upfront with them. When we came back to school on Monday, I said, hey guys, I got fired. And they're all like, what? Why? You know? And so we started reading Who Moved My Cheese. And I related as we were going through it. It was therapeutic for me. And told them, you know, here's what I'm going through. And here's how this relates here. Right. And I read a book at the same time and did a seminar thing called 48 Days to the Work You Love. If you've never read that, it's especially if you're lost right now, it's phenomenal. And basically, it takes you through the process of identifying your overall calling. Like, what are you? At your core, what are you?
And what drives you? What's your passion?
At my core, I'm a teacher. When we get together, when I sit down with somebody, I am naturally drawn to educate, right? And not in like a condescending, I know more than you way, but just let me understand it and let me help you understand it, right? And so then that opens up if you're an educator, then what are some fields that you could be in? Where do you have some prior knowledge? And I go back to working for Mr. Parker for 5 years and you know, we would drive around. This is so nerdy, but when my dad worked at Croslands and mom, we would drive around on weekends and look at houses being built. Right. We just get out and walk around them, and you know, it's just one of those things that you do, right? And so having that knowledge, having a passion for people, having an educator's heart, it's like, hey, I think I should get into real estate. This is 2009.
Not a great time.
No, it was terrible, right? But I started doing the research, and like 61 or 62% of licensees from 05 to 09 retired their licenses. So I was like, well, that's a job opening.
Yes. Yeah.
So I got in and had some pretty quick success. Hired Taylor. Just I don't know. 2 years later,
may have been the greatest decision you ever made when it came to your real estate business,
dude. And let me just tell you, Taylor, I love you. But at the beginning, it was pretty rocky because, quite honestly, I'm a terrible boss. And honest to God, all right. So
I'm not going to comment on that right now.
She starts working for me. And she goes, well, what are my job duties? And I said, well, your number one job duty is to read my mind. I said that. I actually said that to her. And she looked at me like, you're insane. You're absolutely crazy. But we've learned how to work with each other. And she's brilliant, by the way. And so we've been able to kind of work the process out and figure it out. And then, you know, we kind of stalled out for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And that's when you joined us. And I got to tell you, man, you have absolutely breathed new life into our business. And you are intelligent. You are thoughtful. You're way nicer than I am. And
always have been.
I always have been. That's true. That's a fact. I can't say what I just thought, but anyway.
Sure you can.
No.
SEC
you know what I was?
Yeah,
you know what I was thinking?
I have a pretty good idea.
And I don't know, man. You put that fire back in my belly to go and help people, and we have started to really evolve this business into something that I'm proud of. And there's a lot of cool stuff that you've had the ideas for, that I've had ideas but never had the wheels to implement, never had the manpower to implement.
Right.
And we've just got that energy. Yeah. And it's exciting right now.
Things like Coffee Talk.
Yes. This is the 75th episode.
And
in a row.
For us.
We've not missed a week.
We haven't. No, we've hit every one. Christmas, New Year's, whatever holiday.
All of them.
They're always here.
Even when we were in Austin. Remember?
That's right. Interviewed Barry then.
Yep.
I feel like you and I share, I mean, we love where we live.
For sure.
We love the communities we're a part of.
Mm-hmm.
We don't forget where we came from. And I think Coffee Talk is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just an interview with somebody and awareness. It's a community thing.
I had a Facebook post, I guess it was last week. And a friend of ours, a mutual client, but more than a mutual client, a friend, passed away unexpectedly.
Yes.
Eric Evans. And it occurred to me in thinking about him, and then another extremely influential person in my life, Jeremy Fortner, passed away a couple years ago now. And if you're not careful and not purposeful, you'll go through life and you'll miss the greatness that's in people. And my guy over here, Alex, okay, and he doesn't know I'm talking about him, but he's worked here at Carpe Cafe for several years, gotten to know him, and he just serves coffee.
Right.
Right. And notice the air quotes. That's purposeful. Okay. He's awesome. If you've never had a chance to talk to him, he is thoughtful. He is smart. He's a fantastic coffee drink maker.
Definitely.
And he is super dedicated to this place and this community. And if you're not careful, you'll miss the greatness in people like Alex and people like Jeremy and people like Brett and people like Eric. And having a moment once a week to sit down with someone that's pretty cool and to learn that they're actually pretty great, it's magical, dude.
And you're educating our listeners and followers.
Yep.
Plus, that gets shared out to however many other people in the community. Thousands of people.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the brainchild, though, for Coffee Talk? I mean, I can remember when we first started talking about it, and it was something you really wanted to make happen, and have a presence and have something that was genuine, I guess is the right word.
I just want to promote other things in the community. You know, whether it's a nonprofit that's doing awesome work, whether it's a business that's doing amazing things. I mean, it really is that simple. You know, my only motivation for myself is to just know somebody.
Know somebody.
Yeah, that's it.
And get to know them.
Yeah.
Really
end.
who they are. Yeah.
Right. And other than that, and I just want to promote stuff. I mean, I look at this little place. Brought my aunt here yesterday. She says it's the first time she's ever been in here. And she's like, how did I miss this? And that's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You know, you go into a Quinn's Mercantile in Murfreesboro, right? And that place is amazing. You know, you go into Hernandez, Mexican Deli. You guys know, if you ever know anything about me on social media, my favorite restaurant.
It's like every third post on his personal timeline is
maybe fifth post,
okay.
But whatever. And you go in there, and Steve, the owner, he's incredible. What a host and what a cook, right? But if you're not careful, you'll miss it.
That's right. Yeah. It is something you would miss if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And so go down and see Steve and say hi from Jonathan.
That's right. And if I can get 10 more people to recognize and to experience that, that's a win. If I can get 3 more people, it's a win.
Now, is there an evolution for Coffee Talk coming, or keep it the same?
No. As far as the format goes, it's going to stay the same. I think it works. But we have a few things that we're going to expand it a little bit. Rabia Elisal is working on taking them off of Facebook and putting them all onto our YouTube channel. So as an archive, so to speak, so it's easy to access. And my son, a little stinker, he goes, Dad, you got all these cool interviews. Why don't you have a podcast? And I'm like, I don't know the answer to that, son. That's a great idea. So he has taken it on himself to extract all the audio. And right now he's got about 60 episodes on Spotify for this. And he's getting the rest of them, hopefully this weekend.
And we've had some amazing people on Coffee Talk. So go to Spotify and look them up.
Yeah, subscribe. And
go back to that archive and check them out.
Yeah, we've had some fantastic folks. You know, let me make sure I'm right about this. We've only interviewed the same person once.
Really? Okay.
Yep, Wayne Blair.
Wayne Blair.
Wayne was number 1, and then probably somewhere around number 30, somewhere around there. Other than that, it's been a different person each time.
Wayne's a special guy, though.
Wayne is a special guy. But isn't that crazy?
That's awesome. Now, we do have episode 100 will come up in 2020. There's a lot of great stuff going on in 2020, let me tell you.
Yeah.
We can't give you everything because you're going to have to wait and see it. But for the J. Harmon home team specifically, there's some great stuff.
Yes. As a team, we'll have our 4 kind of signature events. So the wine tasting, wine on a budget.
There you go. Wine on a dime.
There you go. Wine on a dime. We'll do that probably into February. We'll have our big summer party. Probably in June. We'll keep our pumpkin carving in. That's a lot of fun at the beginning of October. And then, of course, the parade watch party. Yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And then we'll do some other stuff throughout as well. But, you know, our goal this year, if I really just have to hammer it down to one, is to just connect, right? For us to connect to other people, and then for us to connect other people.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of that on Sunday at the parade.
We did, yeah.
And it just feels good to do that. Is it good for business? Sure, right? But to me, that's still secondary.
Not to be totally altruistic, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's secondary, right? If I can help Bobby Hopkins, connect to whoever, and that person can connect to this person, and we can kind of facilitate that. That's a win.
Absolutely. Well, now, okay, so we've talked a lot about professional Jonathan Harmon. What about the non-professional? The dad,
I'm super
the
boring.
friend.
Super boring.
No, come on. You're all over Murfreesboro and Smyrna and
big MTSU
Butte.
fan.
Yeah, of course.
So we've got a box there in the stadium. A little disappointed this year in the football season, but we'll get there, I think. We tailgate every game. We got the big tailgate trailer that we drag and down there and have a good time. Love my kids. They're involved in all kinds of stuff. So from gymnastics to my son loves doing works with the drama team, drama club, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to be on stage. He likes to be the button pusher in the back.
Hey, everybody needs a curtain guy.
Dude, and he loves it, and he's good at it, and he enjoys it. So I'm all for that. Other than that, I mean, I like to travel. Lacey and I like to go places and experience things. I like to eat. I like to try things,
I think we both can attest to that.
For sure. But I like to try different stuff. I mean, I ate blowfish for the first time this past year. It was small. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was weird, but I mean, it was good, I guess. But it was just a little tiny piece of fish with hot chicken seasoning on it. So, yeah, I mean, that's like I said, I'm pretty boring.
Nah, I wouldn't say boring. But hey, you're a dad first and foremost, right?
For sure.
A great friend, and then a professional.
I would say that's in that order. I would go with that. And that's one of the things that you and I share as far as the business goes is I'd say a solid 80 to 85% of the time we make friends with our clients, right?
Absolutely.
And I'll tell this story. Last year I moved, bought a house, okay? Cool house downtown, it was a life experience. Yeah. And it's the first time that I've done my own real estate transactions before. I bought some rental properties and sold some rental properties and things like that. It's the first time that I've moved my home since I really got into this business, right? It is my opinion that realtors should do that. Like they should be required to do that probably maybe every 5 years or so.
Be reminded of what that experience is like emotionally.
Oh my word, Brett. I was a wreck. I mean, I was a wreck. And I'm not even having to relay the messages through someone else. I'm doing it myself. And I was a disaster.
I remember.
Oh, it was awful. I remember sitting there typing the offer up, and I was just like, I mean, I was sweating and I was shaking. I'm like, oh, I want this house, but do I want it that bad? What if they hate my offer? What if they tell me off? And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it. Type it, send it. And it was like every 10 seconds, I'm looking at my email to see if they've replied. And I'm like, this is what my clients go through.
Every time.
And they're sitting there waiting for me to respond to them while I'm waiting on someone else to respond. And, it doesn't happen often, but occasionally I'm like, golly, will you please quit blowing up my phone? I promise I'm going to get back to you. In my head, I'll never say that to someone. Right?
Yeah.
But now I'm sitting here going, I can't believe that they don't blow my phone up more. I would be the worst client ever.
Yeah.
I would be a terrible client.
I'm glad I didn't help you.
I'm glad you didn't either. You'd have quit. And so it was a good experience. It does feel good. Yeah. Thanks, Willie. And it just, I don't know, it was an experience. And that has also renewed my belief, my mantra, if you will, that we're caregivers, right? and
your fervor to serve others.
yeah, and just to be compassionate and to not just make it a business transaction. Right. Now, part of our job is to understand that it is a business transaction and to kind of be above some of those emotions, but we've still got to have compassion.
You got to be the holding hand. I mean,
it's that fine balance,
you're the guiding
right?
force behind it.
It's that fine balance, and it's easy to forget that. You know,
sure. Yeah.
I've done I don't know 600-700 transactions in my career, and it's easy for it to become a number,
right?
But it's not. Every single one is a life experience for that other person.
I get nervous
a
lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like I want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So
now what's on the horizon for Jonathan?
Man, we're gonna keep growing, and you are doing some amazing things. You're evolving, and I see over the course of the next year we'll probably add 1 or 2 more team members. We want to grow, but we don't want to grow too fast.
Right.
I see you moving into a role within the team as a it's so overused, but a leadership role,
sure.
Whatever. Even more so of a partner rather than a subordinate, right?
Sure.
And I don't think I treat you like a subordinate now.
No, it's not.
But still, I see that happening. I see us really plugging in even more so into our community and getting involved as catalysts for change. Good, positive change, right? Not change for change's sake.
Right.
And not change so that we're in charge.
But I mean, you're already more involved with Rotary.
Very much so. I'm involved here with Carpe Artista and their mission. We're involved in Main Street. You're involved in the library. We're involved in our respective Rotary clubs. Habitat. Just
right
down the list, right? So I see that continuing and expanding. We've got Rabia that's buying into the mission. He's got a servant's heart as well. And of course, Taylor and Holly are doing awesome things as well. Got one little project. I say little, one potentially major project that I hope will come to fruition this coming year. That's all I'm going to say.
That's right. I told you, good things coming, J. Harmon.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't know, man. I'm excited.
2020 is the year of vision.
That's what I put.
No pun intended.
2020 vision. See?
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I wonder how much that's going to be overused this next year.
It will be used a lot. A whole lot. Yeah. I have that.
Is that your prediction?
Thought. Yes.
Yeah.
That is definitely my prediction. Well, I know there's good stuff coming for you. We've talked about a lot of it. And everybody watching, you'll get to see it as the year progresses. We've got some new videos that you're going to be seeing.
Yes.
Got some different things we're going to be doing out and about in the community.
I'm excited about the video. I'm glad you mentioned that. So this has been consistent, Coffee Talk has. But we're really going to try to step up our game as educators. Here's the thing that I think a lot of other agents forget as well. We do this all the time.
Sure, yeah.
And the average American will buy and sell 4 or 5 houses in their lifetime, right? Maybe 6. Okay?
Maybe. Some a lot, but others, yeah.
Yeah. For the most part, that's going to be the max, right? We use a lot of jargon. There's a lot of intricacies to what we do. And sometimes it's intimidating for someone because they feel like they're asking a dumb question. So we're going to try to head off some of that with, here's the dumb question that you've been embarrassed to ask. And we're just going to go ahead and
we're going to throw it out there for you.
And open up that opportunity for people to ask the dumb questions. And let's educate, right? Why do we need to keep this stuff secret? We don't. And
we got a really entertaining video segment coming up too.
We do?
Yeah. Come on.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Sometimes I'm thoughtless. This guy is,
hey, no.
Oh yeah. This guy right here, Mr. Historian.
Yeah. Well,
so that's going to be exciting.
I'm going to give Marty Luffman a run for his money as the history buff.
Well, if you guys are really running, you'll be fine. Big on Marty.
Love Marty.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we've got a lot of good things in the pipeline, things coming for you. And I hope you all stay tuned, not just to our videos, but to what we're doing and see what happens in the future.
Yeah, it's going to be good, man. I'm excited to be doing it with you.
Yeah. Hey, if you got any questions for Jonathan, make sure you put them in those comments. We'll get them answered for you. Look out for the invites for our events coming up this year. And we're going to have a great time.
We are.
So
it's been fun, man.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the show today.
That's weird. Thanks for being on my own show.
Hey, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see if they call schools.
It's still spitting a little bit.
I'm thinking it's not going to happen, but, we are in Tennessee and totally unprepared for any
I'll tell you
weather.
what, though. Rutherford County has done a much better job of being strategic. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I would say that's good. I mean, hey, we all know it's an inconvenience to have to pick them up early or drop them off late. But
yeah, but do you remember, was it 10 years ago when they didn't call them off and it snowed and it was a
horrendous
nightmare? Because all of a sudden it just was like,
yeah, well, hey, they do a great job.
They do.
We don't want to take anything away from what they do. But hey, that's off subject.
Yeah. It's been fun, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Jonathan.
Thanks
we
for
will talk
watching.
to you soon. Look out for episode 100 next year. We need to figure out what day that's going to be. Make sure everybody knows.
We should do a live studio audience.
I think we should too. All of our previous coffee talkers.
Ooh. Can we pipe in a laugh track?
Sure. That will do a sign. Taylor can hold it up for everybody.
That's perfect. I love it. Hey, there's Alex, by the way.
Laugh, cry.
Hey, Alex. Say hi.
Hi.
See, this is Alex. We love Alex.
Come down and see him. Get a great cup of Joe.
That's right.
And get to know somebody new. Anyways, folks, I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday and a great week ahead. Make sure you're sharing that weekly planner. I mean, that's another great, gosh, we've got so much good stuff.
Yep.
But anyways, we love you. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.